The smell of white vinegar hits you before you even open the pantry door. You are standing in a kitchen that belongs to someone who lived through the worst economic collapse in American history. There are no fancy labels, no bright packaging, no promises of alpine freshness or antibacterial protection. What you see instead are gallon jugs of vinegar lined up like soldiers, boxes of baking soda stacked 4 deep, a wire basket full of plain white bar soap, a 10-pound bag of rice, and a canister of salt the size of a small child. Everything on that shelf costs less than $5, and everything on that shelf can replace something you are currently paying 10, 20, sometimes 50 times more for. This was my Nana's pantry, and she never once called it a stockpile. She called it common sense. Now, here is the thing nobody talks about. The reason your grandmother kept these items on hand was not because she was a hoarder or paranoid or old-fashioned. She kept them because, for most of American history, a small number of cheap, ordinary staples handled almost every job in a household. Cleaning, cooking, preserving food, personal care, first aid, pest control, all of it. A woman in 1932 did not walk down a cleaning products aisle because that aisle did not exist. What existed was a general store with vinegar, soap, salt, and soda. And those 4 things ran an entire home. Then the post-war consumer boom changed everything. Between 1946 and 1965, the American household products industry exploded. Procter & Gamble, Johnson & Johnson, SC Johnson, Colgate-Palmolive. These companies did not just sell new products. They sold the idea that every single task in your home required its own specialized bottle. One product for the counter, a different one for the floor, another for the glass, another for the tub, another for the toilet. By 1970, the average American home contained between 20 and 30 different cleaning products. Today, that number is closer to 40, and the average family spends over $700 a year just on household cleaning supplies. $700. To do what Nana did with a gallon of vinegar and a box of baking soda. That is not progress. That is a business model. But she never stopped doing it her way. She never switched over. Not when the commercials told her to. Not when her own daughters teased her about it. She kept her pantry stocked the same way her mother stocked it in rural Virginia during the Depression. And here is exactly what she bought. 11 items, all of them still available at Walmart, all of them still under $5. Every single one doing the work of products that cost 5 to 15 times more. The first item, white distilled vinegar. Nana bought this by the gallon. Great value white distilled vinegar at Walmart runs about $2.47 for a full gallon. That 1 gallon replaces your glass cleaner, your countertop spray, your fabric softener, your drain maintenance product, and your produce wash. For glass and countertops, mix equal parts vinegar and water in a spray bottle. That is it, 1-to-1 ratio. Spray and wipe with a clean cloth. For fabric softener, add 1/2 cup to the rinse cycle of your washing machine. Your towels will come out softer than they do with those expensive blue bottles, and there is no chemical residue building up in the fabric. For slow drains, pour 1/2 cup of baking soda down the drain, follow with 1 cup of heated vinegar, wait 15 minutes, then flush with hot water. The cost per use of vinegar as a cleaner comes out to roughly 3 cents. The bottle of name brand glass cleaner sitting under your sink right now cost you $4 and runs out in a month. Nana's gallon lasts 6 months and does more. The second item, baking soda. A 1-pound box of Arm & Hammer baking soda at Walmart costs about $1. $1. This single box replaces your scouring powder, your refrigerator deodorizer, your carpet freshener, your toothpaste in a pinch, and your antacid. For a scouring paste, mix 3 parts baking soda to 1 part water. You get a gentle abrasive that cleans sinks, tubs, stovetops, and tile grout without scratching. Sprinkle it dry on your carpet, let it sit for 15 minutes, and vacuum it up. It pulls odors out of the fibers better than any powder you can buy in a shaker can. Nana kept an open box in her refrigerator, 1 in each closet and 1 under each bathroom sink. She replaced them every 30 days and poured the old soda down the kitchen drain with hot water. 30 days of odor control in 5 rooms for $1. The name brand refrigerator deodorizer alone costs $3.50. The third item, plain salt. A 26-ounce canister of great value iodized salt costs 88 cents, not even $1. Salt is one of the oldest household tools on Earth and one of the most underused in modern homes. Mix 1/2 cup of salt into a quart of warm water and you have a disinfecting rinse for cutting boards. Sprinkle salt on a fresh grease spill on fabric, let it absorb for 10 minutes, then brush it off before washing. It pulls the grease right out. For cast iron care, use a tablespoon of coarse salt with a little oil as a scrubbing agent. No soap needed. And here is one Nana taught me that I have never forgotten. If you spill red wine on a tablecloth, cover the stain immediately with a thick layer of salt. Leave it overnight. The salt draws the wine out of the fabric. Brush it off in the morning and wash normally. The stain is gone. She showed me that on a white tablecloth at Thanksgiving when I was maybe 10 years old. I thought it was magic. It is not magic, it is chemistry, and it costs less than a penny. The fourth item, hydrogen peroxide. A 32-ounce bottle of 3% hydrogen peroxide costs about $1 at Walmart. This replaces your bleach alternative, your stain remover, your cutting board sanitizer, and your mouthwash. For white laundry that is yellowed, add 1 cup of hydrogen peroxide to your wash cycle instead of bleach. It whitens without weakening the fabric the way chlorine bleach does. Spray it straight on blood stains, grass stains, or food stains before washing. Let it sit for 5 to 10 minutes. The oxygen breaks down the organic compounds in the stain. As a cutting board sanitizer, spray it on after washing. Let it sit for 2 minutes, then rinse. Hospitals use this same compound at higher concentrations. Your 3% bottle does the household job perfectly. 1 bottle lasts months. The fifth item, rubbing alcohol. A 16-ounce bottle of 70% isopropyl alcohol costs about $1.27. This replaces your stainless steel cleaner, your electronic screen cleaner, your sticky residue remover, and your disinfectant spray for hard surfaces. For stainless steel, put a small amount on a microfiber cloth and wipe in the direction of the grain. Fingerprints and smudges disappear. For sticky label residue, soak a cotton ball and lay it on the residue for 30 seconds. It dissolves the adhesive without damaging the surface underneath. Nana used it to clean her eyeglasses every morning. Just a tiny bit on a soft cloth. No $7 lens cleaning kit, no special wipes. $1.27 lasted her a year. The sixth item, bar soap. A single bar of ivory soap at Walmart costs about $1.24. Nana never bought liquid hand soap, not once. She kept a bar at every sink. But she also used it for things most people have forgotten. Rub a dry bar of soap along a sticky drawer slide or a window track that won't open, and it glides smooth. Rub it on the teeth of a zipper that's stuck. Keep a bar in your dresser drawers or linen closet, and it freshens the space for months. Grate 1/3 of a bar into a quart of warm water, and you have a gentle hand wash laundry solution for delicates. No woolite needed. The cost per use of bar soap as a household tool is almost impossible to calculate because it is so close to zero. The seventh item, cornstarch. A 1 pound box of great value cornstarch costs about $1.47. Most people only think of this as a cooking ingredient. Nana used it for everything. Sprinkle it on a grease stain on leather or suede. Let it sit for 8 hours. Brush it off. The grease is gone. Mix it with water to make a paste and apply it to bug bites or minor skin irritation. It draws out the itch. Dust it lightly inside shoes to absorb moisture and odour. Mix equal parts cornstarch and baking soda for a simple body powder that replaces any drugstore brand. No talc, no fragrance. Just 2 ingredients that cost a combined $2.50 and last for months. That surprised me when Nana first showed it to me. I was probably 14. I asked her what was in the little jar she kept in the bathroom. She looked at me like I had asked a silly question. Cornstarch, she said. Same as what thickens the gravy. The eighth item, petroleum jelly. A 13-ounce tub of Vaseline brand petroleum jelly at Walmart costs about $4.47, still under $5. This replaces your lip balm, your cuticle cream, your leather conditioner, your boot waterproofer, and your skin protectant for minor cuts. Apply a thin layer to leather shoes or bags twice a year, and it keeps the leather supple. Coat exposed metal tools or hinges with a thin film, and it prevents rust. Put it on your lips and hands in winter. That is the same thing the $5 lip balm at the checkout counter is made of, just with fragrance and marketing added. Nana had a tub of this on her nightstand for as long as I can remember. She rubbed it on her hands every single night before bed. She had the softest hands of any woman her age. That was not genetics. That was petroleum jelly and consistency. The ninth item, Epsom salt. A 3-pound bag of Epsom salt at Walmart costs about $3.64. This is not the same as table salt. It is magnesium sulfate. Dissolve 2 cups in a warm bath for sore muscles and joint aches. Use 2 tablespoons per gallon of water as a plant fertilizer, especially for tomatoes and peppers. Mix 1 tablespoon into your regular shampoo once a week for a deep cleansing wash that removes product buildup. As a foot soak, use 1/2 cup in a basin of warm water and soak for 20 minutes. This replaces commercial bath soaks that run $8 to $15 for a single-use pouch. 3 pounds of Epsom salt gives you roughly 6 full baths. The 10th item, oats. A canister of great value old-fashioned oats costs about $2.98 for 42 ounces. Yes, oats. This is not just breakfast. Blend 1 cup of dry oats in a blender until they are a fine powder. Add that powder to a warm bath for dry, itchy, or irritated skin. Dermatologists call this a colloidal oatmeal bath, and the commercial version costs $12 to $18 a box. Yours costs about 30 cents. Mix the ground oats with a little honey for a face mask that is gentler than anything in the skincare aisle. Nana made this for my cousin when she had chickenpox. Oatmeal baths every night for a week. No calamine lotion, no medicated creams, just ground oats in warm water. My cousin still talks about it. The 11th item, white rice. A 2-pound bag of great value long-grain white rice costs about $1.48. Besides being one of the cheapest staple foods on earth, rice has household uses most people never consider. Fill a clean sock with dry rice, tie it off, and microwave it for 90 seconds. You now have a reusable heating pad that stays warm for 20 to 30 minutes. It molds to your neck, your shoulders, your knees. The commercial version of this costs $15 to $20. Yours cost about 40 cents. Put a small open container of dry rice in your salt shaker to absorb moisture and prevent clumping. That old restaurant trick works at home too. Place a cup of dry rice in a sealed container with a wet phone or damp electronics. It pulls the moisture out. Nana had rice socks in a basket by her chair for as long as I knew her. She heated one up almost every evening in the winter for her knees. Never bought a heating pad in her life. Now, 11 items. Total cost, if you buy every single one of them at Walmart today, comes to roughly $22. That is $22 that replaces your glass cleaner, your counter spray, your scouring powder, your carpet freshener, your fabric softener, your bleach alternative, your stain remover, your disinfectant spray, your stainless steel cleaner, your lip balm, your cuticle cream, your body powder, your bath soak, your face mask, your heating pad, and at least a dozen other products you are currently buying individually at full retail price. The annual savings for a household that switches to even half of these methods sits somewhere between $300 and $500 a year. You know what I think about sometimes? I think about Nana standing in that pantry. It was a small room off the kitchen with no window and a single bare bulb on a pull chain. The shelves were painted white, but the paint was chipping a little at the edges. She kept everything neat, labels facing forward, oldest in front, newest in back. She rotated her stock the way a grocer would, and I remember asking her once when I was young why she kept so much of the same thing. She was not a woman who explained herself often, but she looked at that shelf, and then she looked at me and she said, "I never want to need something I do not have." That was not fear talking. That was a woman who had learned the hard way what it meant to go without. And instead of being afraid of it, she made sure it could never happen again. For less than $5 at a time. There is a dignity in that, in knowing that you are covered, that your home is taken care of, that the answer to most problems is already sitting on your shelf, bought and paid for, no subscription required, no special trip to the store. That kind of quiet confidence does not come from money, it comes from knowledge. And that knowledge is not lost. It is just sitting in a pantry somewhere, waiting for someone to pull the chain on the light and take a look. If you watched today and one of these 11 items surprised you, tell me which one in the comments. I am genuinely curious which of these your family already knew and which ones are new to you. And if your grandmother or grandfather kept a pantry like this, I want to hear about it. Those stories matter more than people realize. Hit subscribe if you have not yet.